Hello, and welcome back to The Queer Protagonist. My name is Sam, and I believe that by sharing your story, you can light someone's path a few steps forward. Here's a 3-month update on New York. Living in New York is everything. It has been full of exhilarating joys and overwhelming stresses. It's been full of connection and community, going on so many fun dates every week. Last week, I went on 4 dates. Kind of fun, kind of wild. There have been spring colors popping up through the city like you wouldn't believe. Museums to peruse, poetry to breathe in, making such sweet friends, going to Frontrunners, the queer running group on Wednesdays, running through Central Park, and kickball on Saturdays that always starts out with a 2-hour brunch. Going out dancing almost every other Friday. Late night pizza that hits so different. Phenomenal Broadway shows and concerts, some of my favorite artists every week. Drag shows that left my jaw dropped. Going. It's been so fun, but it's also been wildly overwhelming at times, feeling like so much is going on. I won't even get into the wild apartment drama, but basically this apartment that we've been in for 2 months, my roommate Caroline and I, we're actually now leaving the apartment, not sure where I'm going to live for part of the month of May, moving to a new apartment in June, figuring out how to rent out this current apartment that we're in. It's been a logistical nightmare and so much change and chaos. I can't even tell you, and I don't even want to get into it, but to say that it's been stressful would be an understatement. While experiencing being in a new place, not knowing a ton of people, trying to navigate the change, trying to do my best at work, trying to be my best self, trying to be social, to go on dates, to just function as a human being. It's so tough, and I know you get it. There's a lot going on, and so today's topic is about letting people in to lift you. I'd like to intro this with a quote from the LGBTQ plus rights and labor movement activist Cesar Chavez, who said, "You are never strong enough that you don't need help." I want to talk a little bit today about the concept of letting people in, allowing connection at those moments when you feel like a burden, when you feel less lovable, when you feel like a mess, when you are struggling, allowing yourself to be seen, to be supported, and to be held when you're down. The power of vulnerability. It's soul-bearing. It's a risk. But if that's what you want, to be loved, to be seen, and not have to carry around the hypervigilance of looking perfect all the time, or only showing up when you feel like you look perfect or are perfect, allowing others to share your burden with you. Some context about me. I've always been somewhat independent. I love spending time alone. I'm my own best friend in a lot of ways. And so sometimes, as someone who is a perfectionist, who wants to show up bright and cheery and beautiful, sometimes I have a hard time letting people know when I'm struggling. But I found that that's the only way that we grow. We don't grow when we tell people that we're doing fine when we're really not. It's just not true. People want to love and support you, but they can only do that if you let them. I love this quote from C.S. Lewis. I heard it just about a month ago, and it's really stuck with me. Friendship is born at the moment when one man says to another, "What? You too? I thought that no one but myself." And that rings true. When you can connect with someone, when people find out that, oh, they are also going through this human experience, they're also struggling, they're also experiencing this emotion, it allows for connection. So last week and the week before, I've been feeling overwhelmed, and I had some really mental health struggle days is what I call them. Just yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with some of my coworkers of my old team that I was on, and we were just catching up about life, and all of us took turns just talking about what we were up to, some of the highlights, some of the challenges, and then it got to me, and I said, "Hey, yeah, I just worked at this coffee shop today, and one of them could tell that something was up. And so, of course, they asked the question, Sam, is everything okay? And I think that's a really funny question because for some reason it's a triggering question when someone finally checks in on you when you've been feeling low or you're struggling. When someone checks in on you and asks, "Is everything okay?" I found myself just broke down. I started crying on this Zoom call with some of my coworkers, just bawling my eyes out. And I explained that there's just too much going on, too much change to handle. I just feel so overwhelmed. There's so much going on from moving. I wrote this in my journal last week, and I think that it reflects some of the lows that I've been feeling. I had a really tough mental health day. I found myself just bawling my eyes out several times throughout the day. I just feel so overwhelmed. Too much going on. Moving to a new apartment in Williamsburg, feeling stressed with finances, feeling like a lot is going on with work. My friend Ben called me today and asked me how I was doing. I found myself bawling my eyes out walking down the street talking to him. So that was the journal update. And so I texted my mom and I also texted my dream team of besties from college, and I let them know I was having a hard day. My mom called me out of the blue later that day saying, "Son, we're missing you." And then Allison and Lauren of the dream team, they called me and they sent over hugs over the phone. My friend Troy called me and cheered me on. My friend Ben, he called me later that night and he said, "Sam, come over tonight. Let's do a sleepover." So I came over to his house and I slept on his couch. We watched Parks and Rec together. He got us cookies from Chip City and just made me feel so loved. A few days ago, my friend David texted me, "How are you doing?" I let him know candidly that I had had a hard week and that I was kind of struggling. And he texted me these options. He said, A, creating space for you to vent. B, give any advice on specific things. C, distract with TikToks. Or D, other. He gave me these options of A, B, C, or D of how he could support me and love me knowing that I was struggling. So I chose B for advice, and he was there to listen and help me find a path forward. I've learned that as for me personally, when people are looking to support me, I love it when they help me find action-oriented steps. I love advice and building a path forward out of the struggle that I'm experiencing. But I think that it's so worth noting that every single person needs different things. Some people just want to feel listened to. Some people want to feel validated. Some people need to just talk through some things with someone. Everyone has different needs of how they can be supported. So I just share that to say that I love that David showed up for me in a way that would work best for me. He said, "I'm here to support you, but I don't want to just impose myself in supporting you in a way that I think is best. I want to know how you receive love the best." And so that meant a lot to me. A few things that I always find peace from are meditating, journaling, getting in a beautiful walk, calling my mom, walking through Central Park. That's been phenomenal. But something special that I did for the first time this week was I got out my journal and I wrote out the names of 20 people who I've really felt so loved and supported by lately. Kind of felt like I was writing out a roster of the army that's fighting for me, the friends that are supporting me. It felt so good to do. I was talking to a guy on Hinge about this week, and he said, it's so special to have those moments where you're able to really process how much support and love you have around you. I shared a few of these examples of my friend Ben inviting me to sleep over, watch Parks and Rec, of my friend David checking in with me with this ABCD, of a few friends checking in on me via text and phone call. And truly, between the friends and family, over the last couple weeks, I've really felt like I just have an army of people supporting me and loving me and there for me, sitting with me through discomfort, cheering me on through my wins, and there to get me to where I need to go. And so first I just want to say that I appreciate that so much, and that it has meant so much that I felt so listened to and loved. And also it reminds me of our responsibility, my responsibility, of how I can show up for others when those friends and those family members, they are in a place where they are struggling or they're down, where my cheering them on and advocacy can really make a difference. One of the things that I think is so funny about social media for me is that it really is my highlights. I don't post on social media very often when I'm feeling low or depressed or struggling or overwhelmed. I really don't post on Instagram a lot when I'm in that mindset. Often I'll only post when I am at the top of my game. I got that fresh self-tanner on. I am feeling confident. My life is feeling organized. There's so many moments that people don't see. But what's so wild to me is the times that we most need connection, that I most need support, those times when we feel like we're struggling are those times that we most need to be seen. When we feel like not everything is shiny, when things are hard, when you feel like you might be less worthy of love. That is a feeling that I 100% understand. And that is the most important time for people to see you in that imperfect state, when people can love you and give you that support that you need and the support that you deserve. Letting people in allows someone else to say to you, I'll stay here with you. I'll listen. I'll validate. I'll cheer you on. I'll fight for you. I'll help you. I'll show up for you. How can I help you? How can we get through this together? I'm with you. So let people in, because there is a whole army fighting for you, of friends, of family, of people you haven't even met yet. But by letting people in, you allow for connection, and that vulnerability can allow you to receive that love that you need. So just to end this episode, I'd love to transition to 3 action steps. Here's the first step. Write out 10 to 20 people that you can go to at any time for love or support. Actively invest in those relationships. When you have more to give and one of those friends need your help, you can be a point of support. And when you're struggling, feeling alone, needing a hug or a voice of kindness, affirmation, and support, reach out, because those friends will be there to lift you up, cheer you on, and fight for you. Second, evaluate how you respond when people let you into their pain, to their struggles. How can you respond with more love, empathy, validation, or support? And third, with that, when someone lets you into their pain or their struggle or just their life in general, try out David's ABCD option that he offered to me when offering support. Ask them options of how you can support them, whether it's showing up in person with a hug, just listening, talking through something, coming up with advice or a path forward. Let people know that you are there to love them in the way that works best. So that's the episode for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself and to others. And I love you so much.